a marriage therapist for more than 30 years. But just 2 years ago, she learned about 6 principles that make marriage more peaceful, passionate, and playful for her and for her clients too. And Dr. Liz Hale says these principles also helped her feel more confident to handle situations like this.
So many benefits for a guy when you get married. Like when you get married, you're a guy, you get a little helper in the car. I love my little helper in the car. She knows everything about driving. It's very convenient for me. But sometimes I get confused. See, I don't know how I get anywhere without my helper in the car. I'd probably be bouncing off trees and buildings and stuff, but she's there to help. Like, she tells me when the light changes colors and everything. It's very convenient and helpful.
Okay, a lot of laughter in the audience. What, do you know a helper in the car too? Yeah. On that note, let's welcome our favorite and your favorite, Dr. Liz Hale, to the studio today.
I'm so happy to be here.
You say that little comedy bit hits home for you and I think a lot of other women.
Gosh, oh goodness, yes it does. You know, when my husband and I married over 10 years ago, I felt pretty confident. I thought, you know, we're gonna have this down. I've got enough training for the two of us. Marriage will be a cakewalk, right? I think I was a little too confident. Because I know as we were getting into marriage, you know, months, year 1, year 2, I started to hear things from my husband that were really distressing to me. And I will just be really honest about that. He said, I remember once it was like, Lizzie, I think you should have married somebody different. Another one was, I don't even really think you like me. And I thought he was so dramatic. Yeah. I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. And it kind of hurt my heart. And then certainly driving, I was a very good helper. You know, I was first off really wanting to help him be better, dress better, do better, eat better, exercise. Well, just start to exercise. But in the car, it was tough. And I'm not quite sure why we had such problems. But I remember him saying, "Do you want to drive?" Uh-oh. And then
you said, yeah, actually I do.
Yeah, and I really didn't because I knew what that would do too, right? He would probably be directing me, so I should have learned from my own behaviors. But I think maybe the lowest point was when it was a Costco run. I don't know what it was about Costco and conflict, but we tended to have it. So it wasn't always, but just now and then. But I remember coming home, and I think probably I just wasn't letting up on maybe parking lot etiquette. Who knows what I had to be in my bonnet for. But I remember Ben pulled over, and he parked the car, he got out, and he walked away. And I thought, oh my gosh, how could this be my marriage? How did I do this? I knew I'd married a really good guy. And I knew that this was not all on him. He was not a hothead. I just knew I had blind spots, but I just couldn't fully understand them or see them. And I thought, well, do we go to marriage therapy? But who does a marriage therapist go to, right? I don't want to go to a friend, and I didn't really quite know if marriage therapy was it. But then in came this other idea, you know, that I was really thrilled about.
Well, this came in the form of a therapist, Laura Doyle, and she wrote this book called The Empowered Wife. And in it are 6 principles that you say really helped your marriage and in turn really helped the marriages of the clients that you work with. There are 6 key intimacy skills outlined in the book. We're going to touch on just a few today. First, you say the empowered wife replenishes her spirit.
That's true. How many of us have forgotten what it is to kind of take care of ourselves because we're so busy? How many of us are like, self-care? I don't have time for self-care. Yeah. Oh, goodness, yeah. And that's a tough one. But tending to your happiness really needs to be a part of our everyday routine. You'll have more reserves for people, you'll be more tolerant. And it is where a husband, and any of us, I think, are magnetized to someone who is just joyful, right? So when we kind of take care of that self, we just do better overall, and then we're happier. So it's like a win-win-win.
You say by relinquishing control, we actually gain control.
That's so true. I love that. How many of you could relate to my innate desire to want to help my husband? Right? Dress better, do better, live better. I just thought that was my role, quite honestly. I'm not sure where I got that. But it's when I correct my husband's driving or how he dresses, it's really painful to him. It's as if I'm saying you are incompetent and incapable. It's so painful. But when I've learned to have just kind of step back, let him be, like not tell him what to wear, let's say, he surprises me when he comes out of the closet for evening out. It's like, wow, you look fabulous.
Yeah,
I don't know how he put that together without me, right? I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but he just tends to do better on his own when we back off and we stop telling them how to live their life. It's really quite emasculating. And here's the secret. Men really want to be our hero. And it seems like, you know, when I stop doing less for him, he wants to start doing more. He would rather do more for me and have me do less for him. That's just how a man works.
And finally, Liz, you say that women could gain a lot, marriages could gain a lot from an open, vulnerable heart.
Yeah, vulnerability. How many of us feel like vulnerability is weakness? A lot of us do as women. Maybe our audience doesn't so much, but it really is a thing that draws a man to us. It's how our husband fell in love with us to begin with. And sometimes we just forget to be that vulnerable. So instead of saying, you hurt my feelings, it can be like, ouch, and just nothing else. Or you're never home gets to be replaced with, I miss you. Or instead of trying to be superwoman and doing all the things, you know, we knock ourselves out sometimes as women because we think somehow that's our job. We say, you know what, I can't, or I need help. And it's the very thing that draws him back to us. It's like, oh, this makes me feel like I have a place here. She really needs me.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful.
3 of 6 principles that you have so vulnerably said and testified changed your marriage and helped those that you work with as well. And you're sending our viewers home today with a chance to learn more about the other principles.
Laura Doyle provided books for all of us today on the empowered wife. I do really love that book.
Dr. Liz Hale, thank you so much. We love you and we love your heart.